Live from the KFOX 14 studios in El Paso and Las Cruces, you're watching the Emmy Award-winning KFOX 14 News at 9.
A Northeast stabbing leaves one man dead and another in the hospital. Good evening. I'm Erica Castillo.
And I'm John Purvis. First on Fox tonight. The stabbing happened just before midnight last night outside a motel near the intersection of Dyer and Hondo Pass. KFOX 14 News at 9's Joshua Zuber joins us live after learning what police know so far.
Police say this alleged murder is still under investigation. What we do know is that two men were reportedly stabbed around the area of the Hawaiian Royale Motel. One of the men died while the other still in the hospital, soon to be arrested. A bloody trail can be seen in a back alley of a Northeast apartment complex off of Dyer. It's probably as long as a football field.
He said, please help me.
Veronica Molina lives at this apartment complex. She said that she was just sitting outside of her front door.
He came through here, and then he went right there to my apartment, and I was sitting over there, and he was bleeding really bad. So I just got him, and I was trying to help him.
This is the scene where that man came from following that reported stabbing that happened just before midnight. Police say that they found two men wounded in the area of the Hawaiian Royale Hotel.
I was leaving to work, left here like at 4:30 in the morning, and as I was approaching the front entrance to get on Dyer, it was blocked off, and I just see red tape and yellow tape, and the cops' spotlight was shining this way.
The suspect, who is in the hospital soon to be arrested, is Rudy Herdado. He will be booked after treatment and will be placed on a $500,000 bond. Police say the victim is Stephen Joseph Brio. The woman who says she called 911 for one of those men says despite the situation, she was simply compelled to help.
My son's 27, and he was like around that age, you know. So, I mean, I would want somebody to help my son. I mean, I don't know the situation that he came into. My first instinct was he needs help.
Police say more arrests possible in this case. Reporting live in the studio, Joshua Zuber, KFOX 14 News at 9.
A pedestrian suffers a serious leg injury in central El Paso this afternoon when she's hit by a car. Police say it happened at around 2 p.m. near the corner of Frankfurt and Copia. Paramedics took the elderly woman who was hit to the hospital. No word on her condition tonight. Meanwhile, investigators are still trying to determine who was at fault.
Police need your help locating these fugitives wanted for family violence assaults. Take a look. Here they are: Charlie Padilla Hindes, Ismael Perez, Carlos Ramirez, and Anthony Ramirez. If you have any information on any of these people, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers of El Paso at 566-8477. From our exclusive Las Cruces Bureau, Doña Ana County deputies arrest 4 county employees after they allegedly notarized fake checks. KFOX 14 News at 9's Patrick Hayes tells us who was arrested and the charges they are facing.
This morning was basically the second phase in an ongoing criminal investigation that's been happening over the past 2.5 weeks.
Investigators with the Doña Ana County Sheriff's Office arrested 3 county employees this morning. They are Amelia Gomez, Nadia Martinez, and Rena Rodriguez.
We had obtained information that there were specific employees within the clerk's office that had committed various criminal acts, and the incident this morning basically involved our members of our patrol division and our criminal investigations division detaining personnel over there, ultimately interviewing them, and then ultimately taking them into custody.
Investigators say they were part of a group who allegedly were collecting and cashing fraudulent tax return checks in exchange for kickbacks. The initial exchange included 3 checks worth about $12,000. The alleged ringleader is Maria Sinaceros, who is charged with 113 counts of identity theft, forgery, fraud, and conspiracy. She was arrested on Friday with 3 others, including her husband Francisco and their daughter Denise. The family has since bonded out. Authorities also arrested Armando Torres. Investigators say Torres brought fake checks to Maria Sinaceros, then had them notarized by other employees. District Attorney Mark D'Antonio tells me the case is being handled by the newly formed White-Collar Crime Public Corruption Task Force.
And we anticipate in the future we'll be aggressively pursuing these types of crimes in and around Doña Ana County.
Patrick Hayes, KFOX 14, News at 9.
We asked the county if the employees who were arrested are still employed. They said they can't talk about personnel matters.
Carrying concealed handguns will soon be legal on Texas college campuses. The state legislature gave the so-called campus carry bill final approval yesterday, and now it just needs Governor Greg Abbott's signature, and he's already said he'll sign it into law. Handguns will be allowed in dorms and classrooms on public college and university campuses across Texas, but college presidents will be able to create their own rules.
The law does allow me as president and the CEO of the organization to work with faculty, staff, and students to carve out gun-free zones. Some examples would be we have 8 early college high schools, 4 of which are on our campuses. Now, high schools are different than colleges, and so therefore we'd be able to carve out and say that the early college high school is a gun-free zone.
The law will take effect in August of next year for universities and 1 year after that at community colleges. Governor Abbott today made clear marijuana won't be legal in Texas while he's governor. After the legislative session ended, he said marijuana won't be legalized for medical or recreational use as long as he's in office. He did, however, sign a bill into law today that will provide epilepsy patients with access to low doses of cannabis oil. The oil comes from marijuana plants and can help control seizures, but it won't get patients high. More than 20 states have legalized marijuana in some way, but Abbott says Texas won't join that list anytime soon.
Military veterans get a helping hand from Goodwill Industries of El Paso. Goodwill announced its expansion of services to help military vets who are transitioning into the civilian workforce. The nonprofit hosted its first orientation seminar this morning. Goodwill says it will provide specialized help to vets who may have barriers to employment, such as disabilities, mental illness, and homelessness.
It ties those skills with what's available in terms of jobs in the community. We meet with them, we go over job training, we go over resume development, we connect them with jobs, but we also go with interviews and help them so that they can communicate their skills and what they can do for companies after their military service.
Goodwill is set to host seminars in El Paso twice a month. A proposed El Paso City ordinance would crack down on employers who don't pay their workers the wages they're promised. But today, council voted to send the wage theft ordinance back to staff for some revisions. KFOX 14 News at 9's Crystal Price shows us why workers will have to wait a little longer for council to vote once again on the proposed city law.
It was a special called meeting that brought dozens of people to their feet. Everyone from activists,
there's a lot of people are not getting paid their correct wages,
to workers struggling to hide the tears, hoping the city can do something about wage theft.
Not only for me, but all of us at work.
Today, El Paso City Council discussed the proposed wage theft ordinance, a city law that would not renew the license of the employer or issue a permit if they were guilty or in judgment of wage theft. It would also refuse to award a contract to a party if they had a wage theft in the last 3 years.
There is a process. Obviously, there's federal law and state law, but they're still not complying because there's no enforcement.
City Rep for District 3, Emma Acosta, says there needs to be a local ordinance in place to hold employers accountable. But she says staff still need to go back and revise the ordinance for legal reasons. She says the city does not have authority over all of the licenses and permits in question. That's why she's giving staff 60 days to bring back a list.
And so we want to make sure that we have something in place that is doable, that is workable, that is enforceable. And so that was the reluctance on my part.
It would benefit the worker.
Jeremiah House Chavez with the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers says wage theft cases are up, and this ordinance would benefit those who just want to get paid.
And they ask you to, if you're going to have to work on the weekends, I think you deserve the overtime or whatever they're going to have to pay you. And there's some companies that just don't do that. It's just not right at all.
Crystal Price, KFOX 14 News at 9.
The revised ordinance will be brought back before council in a week or two. City Council will vote on the wage theft ordinance at a later date.
Las Cruces drivers should prepare for some upcoming lane closures. The eastbound lanes of Idaho Avenue between Main Street and Foster Road and on Burt Lane and Burley Court will close for 4 days starting at 7 tomorrow morning. This will allow workers to replace the pavement in these areas. The city says the lane closures will not affect bus service. Forecaster Asia Hood is in tonight for Chief Meteorologist Sandra Diaz. She joins us from the KFOX 14 Severe Weather Center to talk about the heat.
Well, we did get pretty warm today, 97 degrees, but As we wind down the beginning of your workday, those temperatures are dropping, and so has the sun. If we take a look outside on our WeatherNet site, we'll see that overlooking the Chihuahuas baseball game, they're at 89 degrees, and it is a little cloudy out, so it's not that clear summer night that you hope for. If you look at our satellite and radar together, you can see that cloud coverage with just a little bit of moisture, and that's going to give us a 10% chance of rain tonight. Our current temperatures show that we've cooled down to the 80s around the borderland. El Paso, we're still at 90 degrees. And if you have any plans for your Monday night, just know we have warmer temperatures. It's going to be a little breezy, and there's a chance of rain. I'll tell you how warm we'll get in my full forecast just ahead.
Last off, Hawaii NASA is interested in one borderland science teacher.
Going off the air, the broadcast the El Paso Catholic Diocese will no longer deliver, and the reason why.
The show might go on. The group that could take over this year's whole enchilada fiesta, next on KFOX 14 News at 9.